Hi there, fellow believers in Christ. This is my first video I've ever made, and it's kind of scary, but I just wanted to share my dream when I was in heaven with God. It has a couple parts before it leads up to it, so just bear with me, but I wanted to share this because I think it's important, and I've been called to do so, so here it goes. Well, I was in my room and I was dreaming in my bed, and in this dream, I was in a mansion, and it was a big house, and there was a man and a woman, and the woman I thought was a human, and the man was a human too, but he said he left, and she said he was going to go get a vampire. So I go, oh my gosh, okay. So I'm looking for a place to hide, and I go with her, and I find the attic, and we get into the attic, and we think we're safe, and all of a sudden we look over, and there's a big open doorway, and we can see the guy with the vampire, and so I hide behind the corner where there's a mattress, and I start sitting on it, and I tell her, be quiet, they're gonna find us, and she's just being loud like she doesn't care. And then they all of a sudden the vampires do find us because she's being so loud, and she, I think, wound up being a vampire because there were like 3 vampires in the room, and I could see my legs out in front of me like I was sitting, and I saw bite marks all over them, and they were laughing, and one of them said, just a taste, and they bit my leg, and they kept doing that, and then they said that they were gonna kill me now, and I was scared and paralyzed with fear, basically, and they started getting closer and closer, and all of a sudden I just knew in my heart, because I'm a believer, to just call out to Jesus. So I go, Jesus, 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 help me, and I just yelled it very loud, and then that they started to back away, and then that dream faded into a new dream, and I was in like some area taking a test, and I hit the last answer, and it made a loud noise, and I thought I got it right. So then I was sitting in a seat on a train, and in my head I knew it was the train to go to heaven, and I was sitting on the seat all happy that I was there, and then the phone rang, and the conductor over to my right answers the phone, and he goes, oh, she has to leave, does she? She has to get off. And I'm thinking in my head, like, please don't be me. And I knew it was me, though. And he looks at me and he goes, you have to leave. And I just, when I'm off the train, I'm running and I'm crying, and I just want to talk to God. And I'm like, God, God, take me. Let me talk to you. Take me. Don't leave me. I love you. And all of a sudden I run into this classroom, and I was very aware it was the classroom of God. And then I sit on a ledge in the back of the classroom, and I look down this hall, and I see these 2 big black feet coming towards me after I was crying out to God. And I was like, whoa, who's this? And it's just this, once he shows up fully, it's this giant, giant black man. And he seemed like he had all this knowledge, and I wasn't sure if he was God or who he was. So I just said, God, don't leave me. I don't want to be left here. I love you. I'll do anything for you, just don't leave me. And I'm crying, and then all of a sudden this big flashing letters come across the screen saying, you win, you win, you win, or across the dream saying, you win, you win, you win. And then all of a sudden I'm in heaven with God, and he didn't like really allow me to see him like in any way, but I knew I was there with him. And he showed me this big silvery looking stadium that all the believers are going to be in when we get there. And he showed me a special place for me, which he showed me podiums, and there was a 3rd place podium, and he showed me the 3rd place. I'm not sure why. I think it was just to convey that he has a special place for me in heaven, which I think is great, but I really didn't feel like I deserved it. And then we were in the base of a cave, because I don't think he wanted me to see too much of heaven. I just remember there being a lot of light coming out of the opening of the cave, and green grass. And when I was in the cave, or at the base of it, God was walking back and forth, and I just remember him being like a figure. Like I couldn't see much about him. He didn't want me to see too many details. He was just a figure, and he was walking back and forth. And he said Nadine twice, and I go, Lord, because I knew in my spirit he was talking to me. I'm like, well, Lord, why are you calling me Nadine? Because my real name is Rochelle. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me. And he goes, well, Nadine is the name I have chosen for you. And I go, oh, okay. But then I kind of got sad because one of my distant friend's name is Nadine, so it didn't seem as special to me. So I go, oh, but I like my name, Lord. And I just kind of felt silly saying it because he's God and he gave me a new name. And he goes, well, then that's what I'll call you. And then I just was further up in the cave all of a sudden, kind of like further out of heaven. And I was just on the ledge and I was crying and crying and I just was shaking and I was like, I don't deserve this. And I had my eyes closed. I go, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this, because I didn't feel like I should be in heaven with God or deserve a special place in that matter. And then he was behind me holding my head with his hands. And I remember seeing a vision of his hands. And then he was behind me and with his hands holding my head, and he laid down. I was aware that he had laid down behind me, and I didn't understand why, and he laid me down next to him, I think, because he wanted to nicely end my dream. So when he laid me down next to him, I woke up in my bed laying down. So I thought that was really cool. And when I was in my bed laying down, I opened my eyes and I just felt this blanket of God just like everywhere all around me. And I just started, like, as soon as I woke up, I'm pretty sure like within a couple seconds I had tears actually flowing because I was crying in the dream. So then I was like crying a bunch, and I just felt him in my room for like 5 to 10 minutes, and I just laid there kind of paralyzed from the dream. And then that was it. So I just wanted to share all that with you guys, and I think it's a very cool dream. So thanks, bye.